Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Strategy Game Podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Shippey, and I am recording the very last episode of the Strategy Game Podcast today. Kind of a little bit crazy. I have enjoyed the last few years. I guess it's been maybe 3 or 4 years, so much. And just the process of creating a podcast has taught me so much about just creating your own roadmap as you go and bringing people along with you along the way. And so I'm not going to stop doing that. This is simply going to be, there's just going to be a shift or another version of this at some point. And I don't know exactly when, but I do know that there will be something else. So stay tuned and make sure that you follow me on my personal pages for what's next and what is to come. But I felt like it was time to record the last episode of the Strategy Game Podcast. And in particular, through this podcast, we've really sought to serve entrepreneurs and leaders and just people everywhere to encourage them on their journey to continue to create new things that pour into other people. And so really our tagline is define your story and make it matter. And we have just sought to do that through this process and everything else that we do in terms of consulting. So this last episode, I really want to use for just a word that I heard. And, I share different words that have resonated with me in the hopes that they will also encourage you. And this one is called, "It's Not Time Yet. I'm Still Preparing the Land." And as we go into a new year, I know that, probably many of you this time of year kind of think about what has my year looked like this past year? And then where am I going? And do I have any idea? And for me personally, this past year has been kind of a roller coaster. It's been, there have just been a lot of ups and downs. There have been high highs and low lows and lots of uncertainty and lots of new territory as we kind of step into what I call the new way, which is kind of just the new way of doing things, a different way of doing things as things shift in our world and with people in general and what they react to and what they resonate with. It really requires us operating in a different way in order to stay relevant. And so I've been thinking a lot about that. And as we go into a new year, into 2025, I've just really heard this phrase of put the bags down, put everything down that you've done in the past, put all of those old ways of operating down and get ready to operate in a new way. And you can't bring anything with you. So you're not going to bring, that old bitterness or that old resentment or that old anger or those old patterns, or maybe even the way that you used to work. Or what you do. Maybe your job is changing. I don't know. Maybe your family's changing. Maybe there's so many things that are changing. And so, I've just been hearing that and really thinking about what that means. And then also just this, it's not time yet. I'm still preparing the land. And I looked up what it means to prepare land. And I was just reading this article on these 3 steps. And guys, this is not my area. So forgive me if you are in this area and I am butchering this, but these 3 steps really resonated with me. The first is pre-irrigation. And so when you're preparing land, when you're preparing something new, okay, you are flooding the field for 3 days to loosen the soil for an easy plow. So you've got to flood the field first. You've got to just put it all out there. And so this really reminded me of putting the bags down, because it's kind of you've just got to, and you've got the weeds in the way from the book. If you haven't read my book, See, Known, and Heard, there's all those weeds in the way that can trip us up, the anger, bitterness, resentment, control, all those things, right? If we haven't just put them all out on the field, right? Flooded the field with all of it and put it all down, then the soil can't be loosened. We can't be flexible in order to get ready for something new. And so, as we look at our lives and we kind of examine what's going on in our relationships, patterns, trends, all of that stuff, we really need to be mindful of how are we reacting to things? What's in our subconscious that's still hiding that needs to come up to the conscious, that needs to come to the forefront? And what just needs to be released? What do you need to put down? What do you need to get rid of? What do you need to change your perspective on? What do you need to do like a reframe on? Because that's going to loosen the soil for an easy plow like that. In other words, that's going to prepare you to be able to be flexible enough to shift when it's time in relationships and work, in life, in all those things. And the second stage is really tilling. So that's like clearing the land, right? To flatten it, to uproot, to smooth out the land for a level playing field. It clears the way for your future. There are no weeds. It clears out any competition. It must be done carefully and intelligently to ensure that all the desired vegetation is removed. So if you remember, and I just referenced this, but we talk about all of those different weeds in the way and how you've got to pull them up. You've got to uproot them from the very start of that root. Because if you don't, and you just run over the surface and flatten it, the weed's going to come right back. So the process of actually tilling the land truly clears it, truly flattens it, truly prepares it for a level playing field. And I believe that's where we're going. I think that a lot of things that, as you look on a global scale and as you look at, even like the political sphere, like government sphere, business sphere, economic sphere, relationships, a lot of us have kind of gone through these moments where we're realizing that the playing field has been leveled. We've understood things in a different way. Maybe we've just kind of gotten our butts kicked. Maybe there have been moments where we've just really had these like self-corrective moments, right? And been humbled. And, I think that is just kind of what's happening right now on a macro level. And I think it's preparing us for whatever new things that we might be stepping into or new ways we might be preparing to operate. And then number 3 is harrowing. So that's the secondary plowing. And that's when you break the clumps of dirt into tiny bits. And that leads to well aerated soil for cultivation and soil moisture. And it makes it easy to work on paving the way for nutrients to enter. It levels slopes and the creation of beds on the soil. So if you think about that third step, it's like, okay, now that we've flooded the field, now that we've just like put all of our stuff out on the field, and we've let ourselves be vulnerable to say, hey, how do I need to do this differently? Or how do I need to operate in a new way? And then we've truly like pulled up all of the weeds by the root. Now we can go back and break those clumps up of dirt into tiny bits, and we can have aerated soil that can receive nutrients. And so what I want to point out about this stage is that we can't receive new things if we are still carrying old things. So the point, if I want you to get anything from this last episode, it's put the old things down to make way for the new things. And the biggest question that you're going to have to ask yourself is, are you willing? Are you willing to put all of the old things down in order to receive or make way for new things or new ways of operating? And as we finish out this episode, what does that look like for you right now? And so if you're near a piece of paper, if you're listening on your phone, maybe make a note, and maybe it's just one word that comes to mind. Maybe it's one person that you want to do things differently with this year. Or maybe it's one mindset shift that is coming to mind, or it's something that you want to ask for help for. And I would just encourage you to do that, because that one thing could be the tipping point that leads to a domino series effect on your entire life. So don't take those small steps for granted as you get ready for 2025, and get ready to operate in a new way, because the new way is going to be so much better than the old way. And I can't even tell you fully what that looks like yet, because I don't know yet, but I can tell you that I'm going to bring you along on the journey when I figure it out. So thanks so much for listening. It has been such an honor to record these episodes these last few years. and to walk alongside of you and stay tuned for what's next.